Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and it is Triple Play Day, and I'm here with Natalie and with Misty, and I don't know if you noticed anything different, but this is a special day, and we can hardly wait to show you what we have in store for you. So to make my project, you're going to need one packet of 10-inch squares, and we have used Owl-o-Ween by Urban Chiks, and it's just such a darling line, really kind of a different take on Halloween. You're also going to need some accent fabric. You're going to need 1 yard, and we've used this black grunge. Add it to the cauldron, see what we're going to get. Then you're going to need some background fabric, 1/2 yard right there. Mix it all up. You're even going to need some backing, 1.5 yards of backing. We're going to put that all together, and we're going to get this. How cute is this?
So fun.
Look at this, girls. Isn't that fun?
That is so cute. I love it.
All right. Well, let's hang it up, and I'll
right.
show you how to make it. All right, so let's take a look at my quilt back here. So this is really fun. So these are all just basically flying geese, and they're going opposite direction. And even this guy's made with flying geese. So let me show you how we did that.
So cute.
Adorable.
So we took, I picked 7 squares. Actually, I didn't pick 7 squares. To make this, you only need to pick 7 squares, but I wanted it really scrappy. So you can see, I have really scrapped this up. And one of the best things about this is that, honestly, if you want to make a lot of runners, you can make a lot of runners from this.
Perfect for gifts.
It's really perfect for gifts. And so I'm going to take
About 6 runners.
yeah, about six. And so, and then the other thing about it is that, honestly, if you want it longer for a long table, you can make it longer, or you could make it shorter, either one. But it's basically made with 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles. So I'm going to cut a 2.5 inch square right here, and I'm just lining my ruler up along the edge, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this. And then I'm going to come in and cut the rectangle. So I'm going to go to 4.5 right here and just cut that rectangle right there. And you can get 2 out of a strip, but really it's how scrappy you want it. All right, so once you get all your little 2.5 by 4.5s cut, I put them in a big stack, and then you're ready to make your flying geese. And out of your background, you're going to cut 2.5 inch strips, and you're going to subcut those into 2.5 inch squares. You're going to need 2 for each rectangle. And these, I'm using the black grunge. And so, you know, a black pencil line won't work. We're using our diagonal seam tape here. And can you see that it's on this cute
Adorable featherweight.
Featherweight. That's my little featherweight, and I love using it, and we thought it would be fun to tie in with our Halloween theme and do this. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to sew corner to corner right here. And Natalie, if you want to do that.
All right.
And I think I'll have you chain piece a couple of them and do that. We'll do at least 3. So here's one more. And then as they come through, I'm going to snag them. And we're using white thread. I used black thread on mine, but we're using white right here so you can see it. We're going to trim this part off. And Misty, if you'll press that back, that'd be great. It's so good to have my Halloween helpers. And then we're going to go ahead and
do the other
side.
All right.
So let me clip these so Misty can press them. There we go. Didn't mean to like to throw that at you.
Oh, it's all right.
All right, now we're going to put a square on this other side. And again, we're going to sew from the middle to the outside or outside to the middle, either way. All right, so we're going to lay this corner on here. And I think I called this background, but it's actually our accent fabric. And we're going to sew again diagonally corner to corner from the middle out. And I'll clip this one off. I bet a lot of you out there have these little featherweight machines. They're so fun to sew on, aren't they? Such great little workhorses.
They're pretty amazing.
How's that?
There we go, perfect. There we go. And you can rotary cut these or scissor cut them, whatever you'd like. I tend to scissor cut. I'm just a little old school. And then you're going to make rows of 3 like this. We're going to do this. So we're going to sew them together in little rows like that.
Okay.
And I'll just let you go ahead and put those together.
Okay.
And we are going to make, let's look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows right here. And then we make these rows, and they're made exactly the same. We just flipped them around, and I'll show you how that works. So you're going to need 18 rows total for your the middle of yours, unless you want it longer, which I would. For my table, I have a very long table, and I would like it. I would like it long.
Just keep going.
And then I just put those cute bats at the end, which I can't wait to show you how to do. The bats are really fun. Alrighty. Now, Misty, if you'll press that back, that'd be great.
There we go.
And so what I just did was I just sewed these up, matched these seams right here, and when I got to the middle, I just flipped this and started the other way. So it makes these little squares in the middle. If you can see right here, these are the little squares. It makes those little squares. And then it just goes out both directions with our flying geese flying, going both sides. And then I decided I wanted to put a bat at the ends of it. And the bat was a little bit tricky because the first one I made was like this long, you know,
funny.
and I'm like, that's very wide for a table runner. And so he kind of looks a little bit like a spider bat, you know, kind of. But I think he's fun.
He is
and
fun.
I think he, you know, he looks Halloweenish and a little bit creepy-ish. So I think that's fun. So let me show you how to do him. It's basically all half square triangles. And so the pieces we're going to need for that, we're going to need 1, 2, 3 regular flying geese. So that's this right here where we have the white middle and the dark outside. So Natalie, I'm going to go ahead and let you sew these guys up.
Okay.
And basically we're doing the same thing. We're using our 2.5-inch squares. And you're going to sew from the outside out.
Okay. All right.
And we're going to make 3 of those. And I have one over here. I kind of had all my little step outs separated. Right here. Here's my last guy. These are the wings, these are the body, these are the 2 top pieces. All right, we'll clip this. That is probably the biggest, we get real used to a scissor cut on our sewing machine, and our little featherweight doesn't have one, but you know what? That's all right. All right, I'm gonna come along here, and I'll just clip, as you clip your thread, you can clip it, and Natalie, I'm gonna have you add another corner to the other side, right here. And the grunge, using the black grunge is really fun because you can really see the opposite side. You know, it has that kind of
Texture.
texture.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Yes, I love it.
Oops.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and put these on here. And we are going to start building out our bat.
Okay.
There's the 2 more right here. I don't think this goes to anything. I think this was a boo-boo.
Yep.
What? Oh,
Get rid of him.
He
I
does
just
it.
put him over there. All of a
Is
sudden,
it
I'm like, wait, where does he fit?
all
And I must
different-
have just picked him off my desk when I was putting my step outs together. I'm like, no, he doesn't go.
He does not.
All right, I'll clip this. There you go. Go ahead and do that one. And these are for the head and the 2 lower wing parts. So go ahead and do those. Now we have to make the upper wings. And the upper wings are made just a little differently. This is what I'm calling the upper wing right here. And it's made with a 2.5 on one side and a 1.5 on the other. So I have those together right here. And you have to make sure that your 1.5s are to the middle. So this one is going to go 1.5 on here and 2.5 out here. And you'll go this way and this way.
Okay.
All right, I'll put that together for you. And if you're very careful, you can actually just leave them right on there. Now this one, remember, it's going to be the opposite way. So we're going to put our 1.5 in here and our 2.5 out here. And this one's going to go this way and this one will go this way. And I'll put that right there for you. There we go, and we'll trim this off, and then we will be able to build our bat.
So close.
Cut
Yeah.
this little thread right here. Not used to having those dangling threads.
I've been trying really hard.
You've been doing great.
I just didn't want the unthreading to happen.
All the girls actually have their own featherweights.
Yep.
Misty has her grandma's,
I
and
do.
Ron started collecting them. He just loves them, and so we went on a retreat, and we gave all the girls a featherweight, and it was just really fun.
That
We had
was
a featherweight
so
retreat.
So great. I love it.
It was just very fun. And so they're all very accomplished on sewing on them, and they're such great little machines to just pack and go. All right, if you'll iron that back, we can start assembling our bat. Now, all of the pieces for our bat, I made 2.5 by 4.5. Like we have these two black ones right here, and it could be one solid piece, but this was how my brain works, and so this is how I put it together. And so, you know, you're welcome to do whatever you'd like, but this is how I did it. So here is our top piece right here, and we're going to flip that around to make the ears of the bat. And then we're going to sew 2 white pieces on either side like this. Next come our top wing right here. And then lastly come our bottom wings right here. And then for the body of the bat, we're just going to put 2, again, 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles right here in the center. So it's 3 rows to make our bat. And that's how he
Very
looks right
cool.
there.
So
Isn't he
cute.
so
That is
cute?
so cute.
All right, so Natalie, if you'll sew these 2 together on this one right here.
All right.
And we'll just put him together row by row so you can see that, because in my mind, this is the toughest part of the runner. You know, we make a lot of flying geese and we're used to that block, but to put this bat together, I think was really fun.
So cute.
And by doing these in segments, 2.5 by 4.5, it gives us all the lines to line up on.
Do you
and it
want
makes
you
things
want
right
1,
together.
2, 3 rows, or can I chain piece?
You can chain piece if you want to. So go
I think
ahead
it
with
would
that.
be easier on the featherweight, just because it will
Okay.
keep the threads attached.
Then this will go over here, and then this one goes here. So again, this doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you sew these together. Honestly, it's just gonna be 3 rows of 3. So again, we'll put this out like this, and I'll set this up for Natalie to chain piece right here,
Thank you.
and I'll get these going. And we will get this little guy together. He goes here with this one here. There you are.
Thank you.
And our bottom wing. And there's that one. Misty, if you'll press this real quick.
Definitely.
And here's another. And then we'll cut this one out here. All right, Natalie, you ready for these first 2 rows?
I think so. I hope so.
All right, so here's the top 2. You're going to want to lay them and make sure that everything's right. Our small squares are to the middle, our ears are pointing up, and then Natalie, you'll just match these 2 seams right here.
Okay.
And what you want to do is you want to make sure your seams, one is going this way and one is going the other. So as you put them together, there'll be less bulk right there. And even if Misty didn't press it right, you can make it go the right way so that it's flat, and then repress it. Now hers are actually pressed perfectly, but you know, you just want to make sure
Tried
that
to help out a
just
little.
that there's less
you know.
bulk. you know.
Excellent. Just lining them up.
Yep, just making sure they're lined up. Actually, that's one of the things when we did that, when we sew on our featherweights, it's not as fast as my machine.
No.
And so it actually makes me slow down and enjoy the process a little more, which I didn't even think was a thing, but it is very, very enjoyable. All right, so we're gonna open this up. There's the top of our bat right there. And we're gonna add his lower wings on.
All right.
There you go. And I have 2 ready for the next table runner I'm gonna
Yeah.
make. Who wants one?
Me.
I do.
All right, maybe
Looks
I'll
like
have to
you
make
have to
3.
make more than one.
Of course, always in my family more than one.
Gonna say.
I made a table runner for Sarah for her birthday, and everybody's like, wait,
We
I
made
want
that.
one of those.
there we go.
Almost
How are
there,
you
just
liking
taking
sewing
it
on that little
easy.
machine,
I
Nat?
love it. I love it so much.
All right. We're going to let Misty
Give it the
Sorry,
final
just
give it the
press.
final press.
Trim those off.
Okay. So cute.
Isn't it cute?
It's adorable.
There we go. It's actually a little bit more perfect than mine. There we go. So now we have 2 bats. We know how to make our Flying Geese units here in the middle. We're going to put 9 going to the left, 9 going to the right. Then I put a little 1.5 inch inner border right here just to separate so that my bat would get, you know, a full focus and on both ends. And then we put 1.5 inch of runner all the way around. Our outer border is a 2.5 inch border, just a little border to set it off. We've quilted this with the spiderweb quilting pattern, and on the back we went ahead and used the black grunge that we had on the back, but look how that quilting pattern shows up there. Isn't that fun?
I love
With
it.
all
So
the
cute.
spider webs. It just makes a great little runner. So it measures 19 by 57, and Misty, I guess it's time to go back to the cauldron.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna make a full quilt today. So first up, you're going to need 1 package of 10-inch squares, and I used Spooky and Witchy for Art Gallery
so
Fabrics.
cute.
I love
It
it.
might be my favorite Halloween line ever. It's
It's
so
so
cute.
great.
So we'll put that into the cauldron.
Look what she's cooking up for
Woo!
us.
And then you're going to need 2 3/4 yards of your background fabric. For your outer border, you're going to need 1 yard, and you're going to need 4.5 yards for your backing. So we'll mix that all up. And then you get this adorable Stars Hollow quilt.
Oh my
So
gosh.
let's
Great.
hang this up.
I love it.
It's a fun one. All right, so I'm just gonna walk you through one block because they're all made exactly the same. So from my package of 10-inch squares, I picked basically a light and a dark. I was just looking for contrast. And for all of the darks, I'm gonna cut these into 2.5 inch rectangle, or 2.5 inch strips, and then subcut them into the 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles, just like Jenny did. So we'll just make a cut, and we're gonna use our whole square. So we're gonna cut all the way across, just make sure I've got it all lined up.
It's so cute, Misty. I can't get over these different fabrics.
They are so fun. It's kind of hard to see on this dark mat. I
It
just
is
want
a
to
little
make
difficult.
sure. There we go. And now I'll just stack these up. And then I'll cut my rectangles just to save a little bit of time. Just like so.
And you should be able to get 2 from each strip, right?
Exactly, yep. So we'll have a total of 8 of these. So 2.5 by 4.5 is what we're looking for. So there's our first 4, and make one more cut here. There we go. And so we can set these aside for now. And now we'll cut our light 10-inch square. And for this one, we are gonna cut it down to 2.5 inch squares. So the whole thing. So same thing with the strips.
Now, before you do this, a lot of people, it bothers a lot of people when the design is off on a pre-cut, but it
Sure.
doesn't really matter, does it?
Well, especially in this case because we're cutting it down so small.
Right, right.
It's not going to show
Yeah,
at
don't
all.
stress over
Yep,
that.
Yeah.
exactly. So we're just going to cut this into strips. And then we'll subcut each of our strips down into squares.
And you should get 4 strips out of each layer cake.
Yeah.
Yep, and 16 2.5-inch squares.
Yep, exactly, which is
And Natalie,
exactly
you kind of
what
have a
you
trick
need.
for that. Like you make sure that you cut on the other side of the line to make sure that you get just,
Yeah.
it has enough room.
Yeah, if you just make sure it's like right in the middle of your marked line on the ruler instead of hanging past, you're usually safe. And so I just kind of watch, try and float my fabric in the middle of that mark.
And also measure your pre-cut ahead of time to see whether it measures large or small. And then
Right.
I
'Cause a lot of
also
times
will
with the pink
sometimes
edges,
kind of
yeah.
center it up on the mat so that I know where my whole 10 inches lies, whether it's in or out.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of adjust with my ruler.
All right, so that is the majority of our cutting. You're also going to need 2 background 2.5 by 5 or 4.5, excuse me, rectangles. Then you're going to need 8 2.5-inch squares out of your background and 4 4.5-inch squares. So keep that in mind.
And you've got those
I've
just
got those cut and ready.
Pre-cut, okay.
And so we're going to start with our dark fabric. And we're actually going to make 2 of these because half of our rectangles are made with our print on one side and half are made with our print on the other side. So you need to make sure
They're opposite.
they're opposite. 4 going one way and
Okay.
4 going the other.
And
So
you want me to sew on the line?
yes, please.
All right, let me do that.
This is very cool.
Thanks.
I like it.
It was fun to, when it worked, you know? You're like, ooh, that's going to be fun.
It's kind of fun when the color placement plays such a big role in what we're
Yeah.
doing. So here's this one, and I'll give you those.
Perfect. Yep.
And this one's on here right. I don't have to readjust it, correct?
It should be right. Trim those threads if you could press that back.
Yep.
And we'll just do this. There we go.
All right. And then since we put our print on opposite sides, now our background will automatically be on the other side. So half and half for these little
Just
blocks.
trim these little guys.
Thanks,
Straighten
Nat.
him up.
So we're just intersecting that. You can see I drew the line here. We're sewing right on that line.
Awesome. There's no mom.
There is a cutter right
Is
here.
there
There
really?
is.
I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yeah, that's an old time machine thing. You know, any of us who started sewing on the old machines, we gravitate very easily toward these machines because they're done just like we used to do ours. And they have this little curvy thing right back here,
Oh, I
and it
didn't-
gets a little
I
Interesting.
blade.
didn't know that that was a thread cutter.
I didn't either.
Bonus!
You learn something new every day. There we go. And then if you'll press that,
She's like, Mom, what are you doing?
so now that we have these 2 opposites done, we're going to go ahead and put these together just like so. We want our prints to match, and we can sew these together into a square.
So this is your flying geese
That's
right
very
here.
Yeah,
Cool.
these are our 2 little flying geese going together, and these are going to make our star legs.
Misty always does such interesting things.
Thank you.
All right, now as I'm sewing along here, you can see really clearly where these threads come together and cross.
Yeah.
And as long as we stay on this side of that seam line, we won't lose our point.
Exactly.
And let me look and make sure we did it on the other side as well. Yep.
It looks good.
So
Yep.
we're gonna have a perfect point on that one.
Get rid of this little bit of threads, and then if you'll press that,
Is it perfect, Nat?
It is very perfect.
it looks
Awesome.
lovely.
Love it.
Good.
And then I
Great.
have our 3 others ready to go. So you'll need 4
Perfect.
of those for your block. And so next up, we're going to make our center, which is using that background rectangle. And we're just going to add a print to either side. So this gets a print on both sides.
Okay.
And there you go. There's one. And then here's the other rectangle.
All right. And let me make sure this is all lined up. So nice. There
Yep.
we go.
Okay. Trim that extra fabric off. Press it back. This is one of those blocks where if you have a nest of all your things really close to you, it makes it really easy.
We all sew in a nest.
Yep, and then we'll add the other square to the other side here.
Now, I have a preference for sewing from the outside in, do you?
I actually feel the same way. I feel like it ends up smoother that way.
I do too.
Yep. All right. There you go. And for the middle, you'll need 2 just like this. So I've got 1 ready to go. And then when Natalie finishes pressing,
There we go.
on this one, instead of our points going together like we did for the star, we're going to put our long sides together for the center.
Nice.
And so we'll sew those
Kind
just
of makes
like
a,
that.
like a square and a
Square and a square.
I know, I
Yep.
thought it was a square and a square. I didn't know it was 2.
Well, and you could totally do it that way. You could cut a 4.5-inch square and snowball all the sides, but you know, it was
Yeah.
a Flying Geese
Either way
triple play,
works.
so it seemed right
You
to
wanted
Yes.
flying geese everywhere.
That's right.
That's fun.
That's really great. I love it.
All right, so we'll press that, and that is the
Okay.
middle of our block, which just leaves us with our 4 corners. So we've got that 4.5-inch square and another one of our 2.5-inch print squares, and we're just going to put that on one corner,
Okay.
1 for each of those.
1 on each corner or just one?
One on each corner unit. So just like that.
So just 1.
Just 1.
All
Yep.
right, here we go.
Exactly. And so we'll trim this, and then we can lay out our block. And the thing that I love so much about how this worked out is you use all of the pieces that you cut from those 2 layer
Right.
cake squares. There's no waste at all.
Oh, wow, it's perfect.
So you need all 16 of your little squares and
For
your
each block.
rectangles.
All of you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, that's
That
perfect.
is-
Well, it's absolutely adorable.
Thank you. And so I always start with that middle block.
Me too.
Just helps my brain, and then I add my star legs, and then our little corners come into place here,
That's so
just
great.
like so. And it is as simple as that, and then when you sew it together, here's your little finished block. So I just set them right together in the quilt, so that's 4 across by 5 down, and then I did a little 2.5-inch inner border and a 5-inch outer border. And let me
That's
show you
adorable.
this backing because it is so cute. It's these little potion
So
bottles.
cute.
They're so fun. And I
Love the
quilted it
potions.
with pumpkins. It ends up 61 by 73, and I just think it is so fun.
It's
Ah,
adorable.
It's great.
just
I love
Thank
it.
you. So Natalie, you're up next.
All right, let's see what I can mix up. For my quilt, it's actually a table runner, and again, like Mom's, you can make several because you have a layer cake to work with. So you'll need 1 10-inch square packet, and I used the Boo Crew by Susan Winget for Wilmington. Oh, go in
gotta
there.
get it in the
There we
cake.
go.
Gotta
Okay,
mix it
all
up.
right. And then you're also going to need some background, about 3/4 of a yard. You'll need an outer border, and I use this cute little bat. It's 1/4 of a yard. And you'll need some backing, 1.5 yards, and
Ooh,
binding
got the
because we got
stripe.
this cute
Ooh,
diagonal
how fun.
stripe. Only 1/2 yard is needed.
Mix it
And
up.
we're gonna mix it all up. And then we're gonna get a table runner that looks like
cute.
this.
It's so cute.
Is that fun?
I love
That
it.
is really fun.
I love it too.
All right, let's hang it up there.
So this is a really fun thing. I'm kind of excited to show you. It's a totally different type of flying geese than the other girls. First thing you're gonna do is take your 10-inch square, and we're gonna cut it in half to get 2 5 by 10-inch sections. And then what we're gonna do, this one's just a tiny bit bigger than 10 inches, so I'm just gonna trim off that little bitty bit.
All those little peaks.
Yep. And then we're going to cut 1 inch off of the long end. So you're going to end up with 2 5 by 9-inch strips or
Okay.
rectangles. All right.
There we go.
From your background fabric, you're going to cut 5-inch squares. And you're also going to need some 2.5-inch squares to snowball these corners. And I just kind of cut a variety from my pack. They were mostly the smaller prints because I liked the bigger prints for my larger flying
Yeah.
geese. That's just kind of how I did
And
it.
there's some
That
super
makes sense.
cute
Yeah, there's
prints.
some
They're
in
fun
here.
so
ones.
fun, yeah. So I've got my 2.5-inch squares pre-cut for you because that's kind of self-explanatory, and I thought I'd focus more on this part.
Well, and Misty and I both snowballed
Yeah.
something, so
That's
they can
right.
see it.
That's
All
right. Okay, so to make this, we're gonna do the one seam flying geese trick.
I love that she's
love
doing this.
So we have these two guys, and then we're gonna fold this in half.
Wrong sides together.
Wrong sides together. We're gonna line that up with the edge, and we're gonna make a cute little flying geese sandwich.
All right.
And then we're gonna sew right across this top line, just 1/4 of an inch.
Okay.
So the fold is on the edge, and we're stitching across the top. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
it's so fun.
This is
These
a really,
come together so quick.
It is, and it's a fun way to make flying geese. It's like every time you open it, it's like a little bit of magic.
Yes.
Which is what we're hoping for here today. A
It's
little
so
bit of
Exactly. It
magic.
fits perfect.
It's really fun.
There we go. I'm gonna try this cutter thing. I don't know how this works.
It goes in. Let me show you.
The-
So
I got one thread.
you come in this side, and it just goes in between these two here, and it just comes
Ah,
out.
okay.
all
There we
right.
go.
All right.
Cool.
Have
Okay,
to try.
so now we're going to,
Trim
we're going to
those.
open this up, and then you just pull this straight down like that, and you've
Look at
got
that.
your
I love it
flying
so
geese.
much.
Is that not the coolest thing? One seam flying geese right
So
there.
we'll press it.
All right, let me press it. And this is probably a good place to use some
Starch if you
starch
want.
if
little
you
bit.
want.
Can. I didn't use it. It wasn't necessary for me. I did go ahead and trim my bottom straight if you want to. I don't know if that's
Yeah, I
a
did
thing
too.
that matters or not, but I would rather have a little bit extra to just trim off.
Yeah.
And then we're just going to simply snowball our two corners, and I think I'll use a green on one side and a black one, I think, on the other side. I like
Perfect.
both of those.
There we go.
All
So
right.
you can just do them both while they're there.
Yep.
Looks like
thread
it's
is
caught in the
caught.
thread cutter.
Yep. This didn't work out
Whoopsie.
in the long run for me.
That's okay. Everybody has a machine struggle once in a while.
Let me clip it.
Just makes you normal.
And pull this out from here.
There we go. All right.
It only
Turn
takes
this
3 of us to
around.
figure it out.
Hey, it's all
long as
good.
we
get by with a little
We're a
help from our
team.
friends. That's right.
Yep. There we go.
She went to use the thread cutter. I saw
I
that.
know, I was thinking about it, but
That's where it is on the other machine.
yep.
All right, I'm
So
assuming.
yep, trim them,
I just trimmed
flip
that without
and
asking.
press. Absolutely.
Got it.
You did it just right.
All righty. There we
Okay,
go.
so that's basically it. Your block is pretty much done. At this point, if you wanted to leave these straight, you totally could. If not, you can fold it back and it makes this cool little curve that I thought looked really fun. I thought it made just sort of like a swoopy
A little more
circle.
movement,
It really
yeah.
does.
I
Look
love
at
that.
this. It's just a
Yeah.
little more curvy. Really cute.
All
Yep.
right.
All right, you're going
So
to sew
you
that
can,
down, Misty?
yep, you can
Absolutely.
flip that back and sew as you go. I prefer to start at the top peak and just do one side at a time and
And you just sewed right along that little
so right
outside
along
edge.
the outside or the outside of the curve, because that's the part that I wanted to make sure stayed flat.
Yeah. Let me just
Now,
do
I
a
have to
little
say,
bit
when
at a
Natalie brought
time.
this in, I was like, you did the wrong block. You did the cathedral window, not this flying geese. And she goes, no, I did the one seam flying geese. And I'm like,
Yep.
woo. Yeah, this was one of those times
So
where I was worried our triple play was going to be a double play with one
out of
extra.
order.
But she
One
was in
seam
it to
flying
win
geese is fun. I think
It is
it's
so
cool.
fun.
It is fun.
So you just
Oop,
do
I
the
did
one,
miss a tiny spot there at the
no
top.
big
but
deal, and then you do the second one on
All
this
right.
side as well.
Perfect.
Just start in the middle and overlap
your
it a
way
little
down.
bit.
You got it.
That's so fun, Nat.
And you can use all the same color thread or different colors based on your fabrics if you want to. You don't have to use a straight stitch. You could do one of your decorative stitches
Oh,
or a
that
little
would be
blanket stitch. I mean, you could do all kinds of different things with the threads at this point. Would be
Yeah.
kind of fun.
Sorry,
That
my,
would be fun.
my
And
thread
if
was all knotted.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right.
Now, I think that I made mine into, I think I put the whole quilt together and did my seams after
Oh,
at the
okay.
end. So you could do it that way as well. I found it doesn't really make too much difference. But I did go ahead, I did these exactly the same. That's all right.
You have some more here. You can
I
come
went
on
ahead,
either end.
well, I went ahead and just made these into little 2-block sections, and that's how the quilt is put together.
Oh, okay.
That is
So
so
it,
cute.
it is
fun.
all just this block right here, just a block of 2.
Right.
And then I did, 4 across the top, and then I flipped the others and did 4 across the bottom.
That's so fun.
And so that's how the whole runner's put
That's
together. And it just has a little
super
2.5-inch outer border and a little 2.5-inch binding. I mean,
That's
fold
so
and
cute.
flip.
And this would be a really fun full-size quilt too.
It would be.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
It'd be a
super
really
cute.
fun full-size
Really
quilt.
fun.
And what,
And you get
Your
a
quilting
secondary
pattern?
little flying geese if you look at this here. This I think is super cool because that
Yeah.
kind of looks like another little flying
oh, it
geese.
sure does.
But it also makes these neat little arches that I love.
Really cute now.
And your quilting
So
pattern?
my quilting pattern is time warp because I love it so much.
Yeah.
And the backing is this super cute, jolly little pumpkin. I love it.
He's cute.
And my quilt measures 22 by 40, and I just think it's great. I
It's
hope that
super
you
cute.
enjoy it and have fun. It's kind of one of those things that you can be creative with. You can leave them straight or curve them or whatever
really
you
fun.
want.
It's
Yep.
really fun.
So that's it. That's my project.
Well, we hope you enjoyed the magic we brought you today from Triple Play.
Woo! So many fun things, 3 great flying geese ideas.
You've got plenty of time before Halloween to make this magic happen.
We hope you enjoyed this spooky triple play from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.
Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you aren't already part of the Missouri Star Quilt Company family, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss a thing. And if you click that bell, it'll notify you every time a new tutorial comes out. See you next Friday.